Good evening, I'm Olivia Quay with a special edition of The Big Story. Now, the Singapore government is looking into providing financial support for companies that need to urgently house workers affected by Malaysia's two-week movement control order, which kicks in tomorrow. It will also work with hotel and dormitory providers on lower cost rentals. About 415,000 travellers use the land checkpoints between the two countries daily. Many of them are Malaysians working in Singapore. It's estimated that more than 100,000 Malaysians have no living arrangements here. And earlier today, Malaysia reported its first 2 deaths from COVID-19 as the number of confirmed cases reached 673. Now, I'm joined now by multimedia correspondent Haryanto Diman. He's live at the Ministry of Communications and Information, where the multi-ministry COVID-19 task force just held a press conference. So, Yan, the Manpower Ministry issued a press release this afternoon, which essentially covered broad strokes about how the government is helping to accommodate workers affected by Malaysia's partial lockdown. Did the task force give any more details?
Yeah, hi Olivia. Of course, Minister Josephine Teo, the Minister for MOM, was also present. Now, she's part of the task force as well. Now, she outlined the 3 suggestions, one of which is to encourage the workers to stay with their friends, relatives, or even colleagues here in Singapore. Now, if it's not feasible, of course, they can consider hotels or dormitories. There's also the rental option. She mentioned like HDB flats, apartments, and condominiums. Now, on that also, then she revealed that there will be a temporary aid that will be given out of $50 per night for the next 14 days. You know, what is more important, she noted that this whole period gives companies time to assess for themselves what they want to see in terms of their staffing, including the affected workers, and what would be sustainable. She also noted that they're confident of the help that can be given. Now, she noted that in the few hours that they've been working, they've been able to match more than 10,000 so far in the short hours. So they are confident that those affected will be able to find suitable accommodation by the end of the night. Now, Minister Lawrence Wong as well added that certainly there will be flexibility given in terms of rental of HDB flats, because one of the members of the media asked with regard to flexibility in terms of HDB rental flats. So Minister mentioned that given the public health emergency as well as the timing, they will respond accordingly with new measures, and therefore they will be open to be flexible as well.
Right. Well, Minister Lawrence Wong said that while Singapore isn't closing off its borders, the government strongly discouraged non-essential travel. Let's have a listen.
So we would encourage and we will call on all residents of Singapore. We have already put out the travel advisory to defer non-essential travel. And we would call on everyone to comply with this advisory and defer your travel plans. There is really no need to travel. If there is no need to travel, please don't travel during this period. It puts everyone at risk. You put yourself at risk, and you put your family members and the people around you at risk.
So, Yan, off what Minister Wong said, how can authorities ensure that people aren't travelling overseas unless absolutely necessary, or is the onus on employers not to grant their employees leave?
Now, Olivia, there is something that I just want to add. If you heard from the sort as well, Minister Lawrence Wong was really very serious when he encouraged all Singaporeans to defer travel at this juncture. Now, he noted over majority of the imported cases, which form the bulk of recent COVID-19 cases detected in recent days, Singaporeans, permanent residents, and even long-term pass holders who have been overseas and returning here to Singapore. Now, if anyone chooses to travel, the employer is entitled to make the person take his own leave to serve a stay-at-home notice or leave of absence if the employer wishes to impose on that person. It's not quite like the current situation right now, Minister Lawrence Wong noted, where it is paid leave. Now that advisory has been put out, if still they choose to travel, government or even employer advise you to stay home for the 14 days. It will not be paid leave. It will be the leave of the employer or employees.
Right. So, Yan, with our closest neighbour Malaysia partially locking down the country from tomorrow until March 31st, Did the minister say that similar measures are imminent here in Singapore?
Now, Minister Lawrence Wong said that they won't rule out because it will again depend on the local situation. But having said that, they have considered and they will consider a whole range of measures and not rule anything out. Currently they are not considering a lockdown, and they will constantly tighten up at the border in terms of measures. Have contact tracing done faster, and also implement and enforcing the social distancing measures. And they could even potentially consider a major circuit breaker that doesn't necessarily entail a lockdown, but entails, say for instance, school closures, workplaces on a temporary basis, 2 to 3 weeks, just like what Malaysia is doing. But that does not mean an entire lockdown. Just suspension of activities that could be a circuit breaker. So there's a whole range that the task force is looking to ensure and also to curb and manage the situation here in Singapore.
Right. Well, thank you so much, Haryanto. That was multimedia correspondent Haryanto Diman reporting live from the Ministry of Communications and Information. And do visit straitstimes.com for developments on the COVID-19 situation in Singapore. I'm Olivia Quaid. Thanks for watching and good night.